Onto the grass, please.
Oh. Right.
No day is the same for these reserves, from treating the injured in a surprise scenario to learning to safely move across enemy lines. And to top it all off, it's the first time they've experienced anything like it.
Contact front! Get in line! Wriggle forwards,
Here the recruits are reacting to enemy fire as they're trained from the basics up as part of a new pilot that takes everything they learnt from their virtual lessons out to the field.
A lot of what they've done has been done as distance learning beforehand, and then this is a chance to go over that, iron out anything that they might not have understood from the distance learning package and apply it in a exercise environment or go through the assessments that they need to do. As I say, this is a pilot for the CMS 21 syllabus when it comes in April, so it's a chance for us to see what works and what doesn't.
Contact left! Contact left! Contact left!
This new training course could replace the current Alpha and Bravo packages, and if successful, it will be introduced across reserve units from April. It uses both virtual and field learning, with more realistic scenarios for reserves to react to, and was born out of the pandemic when much of the training was moved online.
Whereas the previous syllabus is all based on training that they do whilst at the ATR, a 1 week Alpha package and a 2 week Bravo package. The time in between those is now being capitalised on in order to deliver training. Another part of that is distance learning between Residential 1 and Residential 2, which is what they're on now, which it takes the place of what was Bravo.
It's also the first time these reserves have been out on an exercise setting that tests their movement, communication, weapon handling and of course reactions.
Well, this is the first time they've ever done it, so it's sort of we're sort of going through the basics with them. They get to rehearse it quite often, and every drill builds up, and they will actually just repeat until it becomes muscle memory. So hopefully by the end of their 5 days in the field, they'll be competent and they'll pass the assessments, and then going forwards their phase 2 training, they'll continue this. So this is obviously their basic.
You will say advance.
Yes, Corporal.
Yeah, and I will say contact when you're contacted, yeah?
Yes, Corporal. Prepare to advance! Prepare to advance!
To advance.
The 2 week training course is being run by regular and reserve instructors and allows for any mistakes to be quickly ironed out.
Contact front! Listen in there, detail. Make safe!
I had to remember words of command and to be loud and clear. I had to remember to reposition myself before I moved off, inform the rest of the section what they had to do, and obviously shout out contact after being instructed to, returning the appropriate fire.
It was good, challenging, because you're having to think about multiple things all at once. But that's why we're here. We're here to learn, increase our skills and be better at what we do and be involved with the British Army Reserves.
Whichever way you want to go, so you're like a little bounce or bounce right, whichever way, then you're going to hit the deck again.
As well as RTR training, return, take cover and return appropriate fire, on the field next door they're learning the different ways they can move while firing a weapon.
Moving!
So I've been teaching them methods of movement, so it's covering different methods that we use on the battlefield, how to get across it tactically using tactical bounds. Basically it'll mean like this, how the methods you can use to cross it, as you can see behind me probably, like the open ground, getting across it safely without causing casualties.
Keep firing then! Keep firing!
Magazine!
Stop! There's a reason why I just did that then, because I heard your magazine run out of rounds. He fired a round and his magazine ran out.
We haven't been doing much sort of magazine changing, and so that slowed the momentum of our movement down, but I think as we do more it will definitely improve.
Come on, you need to be quicker with these drills, yeah?
For the first time they've done quite well with it. Things they need to prove on the slickness of the drills so they can get the movement going of the section. But apart from that, they did really well today.
Enjoyed it, good instructor. Obviously picked us up on some bits and then polished them off, and I think finished well. Obviously new to doing it, so I think it's just going to be gradual progression, do it a few more times and pick it up a bit better. Always room for improvement.
What they've learnt here will be put to the test at the end of their course, as the recruits will then go on to start their reservist careers. But before they get there, the instructors have a few surprises up their sleeve.
Troops, I've got some injuries then! Okay, Hagen, what are you doing? What are we doing? What have we got here? Think about it.
The reserves were not warned of a simulated traffic accident, and now they're having to think on their feet, using all of their virtual learning to calm and treat the injured.
My foot! My foot's hanging off! Okay, stand still!
So we're looking to see if they follow it correctly and whether they actually administer the practical application of putting things like tourniquets on, putting things like bandages on, administering fentanyl, and seeing what sort of knowledge that they've picked up throughout the course.
That leg! Ah! What's the leg?
Watch that leg! Put him down there!
Assist then! Ah, my leg! My leg! What are you doing? My leg's hanging off! My leg's hanging off! What are you doing?
With a checklist in hand, it's vital these reserves follow every step by the book, as in a real-life scenario, this could be a matter of life and death.
Okay, so you've got the stump. What do you need to do with the stump? On drill 5.
Wrap it up completely.
God, you need to dress it, don't you?
Right, there's some dressings on the front of the bonnet.
In this section, there's 2 injured, one with quite obvious wounds to the leg and the other unresponsive.
Control of the legs.
Okay. Right, this way. Onto the grass, please.
Oh. Right, Minister.
Ready?
Stick his lollipop through his mask.
Everybody all stepped up. I think everybody had a role, and when we needed some more leaders, somebody stepped up and became a leader, and everybody listened to each other. In my opinion, I think that communication could have been better. With better communication, we could have dealt with it a lot quicker. However, I think overall we did a really good job, especially on our first time of conducting in the field a battle casualty. I think we did really well.
We've never done this drill before, so I thought we handled it very well. In terms of if it was a real life situation, we got all the people that needed to be medically evacuated out on time.
Broken bones, dislocations, or begins with B. Burns, good, happy days. Okay, someone do it then. Someone do the check. They did okay. A few of them were not following the drills as they should have, and there was skipping some. I think that's probably due to how they have learned. A lot of people learn different to others. A lot of people are a little bit faster, more into the reading and writing as opposed to others that may be kinesthetic learners. So again, we found that some of them that were doing the practical bits were probably better at that bit, and others that in the classroom based, they sort of shone a little bit, working their way through the book on the theory side.
Back out on patrols, they're unaware of what's around the corner.
Take 2 steps forward of the weapon.
Here, a prisoner of war has escaped, and the aim for the reserves is to safely disarm the prisoner and check her for any other weapons.
Do you have anything on you that you'd like to empty out of your pockets before we start? Could you empty it out now and place it on the floor in front of you, please?
Once disarmed, they must take the prisoner into their custody while also concealing their location.
Without taking our noise off. Listen to him then.
The final drill of the day is being watched by their commander, Brigadier Mike Butterwick, as they respond to victims of an IED explosion.
Let's go.
it's really important when you do something like this to actually see it on the ground, because you can't sit in the office and just look at various PowerPoint slides. You've actually got to see this go into practice. And as with any pilot, there are some things which will go really, really well, and other things that perhaps aren't, don't work quite as well. So we need to adjust that, and hopefully by the time we roll this out in April, we should have a really fantastic course.
Someone should be giving cover.
The aim is to deliver this new pilot in April to replace their existing training packages. Here they're using feedback on the ground and the response from the reserves to make any changes before it's rolled out.
The first observation that's really confirmed by being here today is that reservists like spending time in the field, and actually the skills and the effectiveness of their soldiering just improves. So I think by having longer in the field, I think that is just going to be a real benefit to the Army Reserve and to the Army as a whole.
From completing a basic level of training to taking part in simulated attacks and responding to injured personnel, these reserves were trained throughout a pandemic and are helping pave the way for new recruits undergoing training. Kirsty Chambers, Forces News, Beckingham Training Camp in Lincolnshire. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.